In this fictional but still epic and possibly quite cheesy tale from the perspective of a Luftwaffe pilot, you will witness history come to life in a somewhat accurate depiction of what happened in the skies over the Soviet city of Stalingrad, 1943. So grab yourself a hot drink and we shall begin. I had climbed for what felt like hours in my Focke-Wulf 190A4, which thrives on altitude advantage, and I was looking for targets. I suddenly saw a formation of enemy attackers. I dived down to engage, even though I knew these were manned by robots, but I could still use the score to win the battle. I had gotten one kill and a few shots into another IL-2, but I got hit by turret fire. My aircraft wasn't critically hit, so I decided to stay for a little while longer, especially when I had the speed and the altitude. Even though I got hit in the previous attack, I wasn't that worried about the IL-2's turret at these speeds. Unbeknown to most people, the aerial combat in the battle for Stalingrad appeared to have been fought mostly in Japanese aircraft. It has been said that they were favored by new and unskilled pilots. After receiving some damage and narrowly missing the flaming wreck of an IL-2, I decided that I had pushed my luck in this area. While I was capturing an objective, my engine started to make noises, which signaled to me that it was time to head back. I made it home to the airfield just in time. My engine was about to give up. Not long after I took off, I spotted a lone aircraft flying low. I had information that an enemy aircraft was in the general area. I decided to investigate closer, but I had to be careful. Russian aircrafts are highly dangerous at low altitude. And additionally, they were equipped with the deadliest weapon of all, Russian bias. I could see on the tapered wings that this was a yak. He had spotted me and we were going for a head-on. I gambled that I would win, having 4 cannons and greater speed. I managed to shoot off his wing and get the kill, the first of many kills I would get this day. After capturing a zone, I started to look for targets when I spotted a bomber flying low. The bomber was flying towards a friendly target, and I suspected that this was an enemy. I came closer, and I could see the characteristic rudders of an American bomber model, and I decided to engage. I had the altitude, the speed, and the armaments of the aircraft to make this engagement low risk. The frontal armaments of the 190 turned the B-25 into a ball of fire with a short burst. Not long after the B-25 got blown to bits, I saw a dogfight unfurling at low altitude. I counted at least 4 aircrafts.
Attention to the designated grid zone.
I could not yet see who was friendly and who was hostile, but tracer color usually gives some indication. I picked my target and dived. It looked like a Soviet Yak-2. It made a sharp turn upwards and it got hit by my teammate. The Yak would probably have died, but I finished him off anyway. The opportunity makes the thief, I guess. I would soon have the chance to redeem myself. There were still enemies nearby, so I started climbing whilst looking for targets. I could see that the recently killed still Italian twin aircraft was being chased, so I decided to help him. The hostile aircraft had bled all of his speed in his maneuvering, and I knew that this was a free kill. By killing the enemy KI-61 and thereby saving my teammate, I can return to base with a clear conscience. While checking my 6, I saw tracers after the Italian teammate yet again. I turned around to assist. I couldn't quite get on target, and so the Soviet aircraft evaded my attack. But by avoiding me, the enemy fighter had put himself into a bad spot, chased by both my teammates. My help wasn't necessary anymore, so I decided to return to base this time. On my way back to the airfield, I spotted a friendly formation of Bf-110 on an attack mission. Out of nowhere, an enemy aircraft came from below, in pursuit of the attacker formation. I quickly checked my 6 and engaged, trying to protect the escort objective. I could see that the fighter came in too slow and he was pummeled with machine gun fire from the turrets of the attackers. The fighter was a Yak 9K. The attack formation was safe and could begin their attack. I checked my 6 to make sure I wasn't followed, but I had the feeling that more enemies might turn up to stop the attackers. Noticing that the attackers had begun their attack run, I could see another aircraft in their midst. I dove down after the unmistakable D-Day invasion pattern black and white striped wings of a P-47, and I knew that I would eventually catch up due to my altitude advantage. If this engagement would turn into a dogfight, I knew that the P-47 would not be able to win over a 190, especially when it was in a lower energy state. Even though my aim was sloppy, I peppered the P-47 with bullets, but I wasn't able to get a critical hit. I finally landed a critical hit, and he was now severely hurt. A Focke-Wulf and a Zero had now turned up. I wasn't able to get any more hits, but seeing as the P-47 was low and slow, followed by 2 teammates, I decided to leave, knowing that he would eventually get shot down. I announced that I was returning to base and watched as the P-47 was having a bad day. On my way back, I saw that there was a capture zone up for grabs. I capped the zone and went to the nearest airbase to refuel and restock my ammo. The landing went smooth, but I knew there was more fighting to be had. So far, I had managed to score an ace and gotten 3 AI kills. It wouldn't be long until the enemy themselves produce an ace and more. Not much had happened in a while, except capturing zones, until I saw 2 aircraft at similar altitude at the A point. I announced my position to see if they were friendly, but they seemed to be engaged in a dogfight. A friendly Bf-109 was shot to pieces by a Yak 90 37mm nose cannon, and it's turned its attention towards me. I botched my shot, but so did he. I wasn't sure who held the advantage in this fight.
Move after me.
Suddenly, another aircraft appeared. Luckily for me, it was a friendly Ki-61, but the Yak pilot still had me as his target, as he narrowly missed me. I tried to extend because I knew I had superior dive speed. It had worked. The Yaks changed direction and was now tailed by the Ki-61. Seeing as I wasn't followed anymore, I decided to get some altitude and assist the Ki-61. But I was weary. More aircraft must have seen the tracer fire from the Ki-61 and the Yak. I noticed the Yak was engaging me from lower altitude. I steered away, avoiding the head-on fight. It appeared that another enemy aircraft had joined the action. I was suddenly in a very bad spot, 2 hostile fighters on my tail. Checking the map, I knew I could fall back to the safety of my airfield. I was hit. It was time for me to get out of here. I started diving towards the nearest airfield. Luckily, it was only a short distance away, and I was sure that no enemy fighter would follow me. Closer to the airfield, more aircraft appeared, and I decided to gain some altitude and continue the fight a little longer. My aircraft had minimal damage and I was good on ammo and fuel. My first priority now was to get an altitude advantage, as that is what the 190 really excel at.
Attention to the map!
There was at least 5 aircraft, and I knew that at least 2 of them were friendly.
Guide on me! Guide on me!
I had been searching for targets, and I spotted a low and slow aircraft. Its wings had the unmistakable tapered shape of a yak. I had missed my shot, and I counted 2 enemies and 5 friendlies, me included. I looped around to assist. I missed my shots yet again, and my teammate paid my sloppy aim with his life. I looped around to take revenge, and I noticed that the Yak was peculiarly slow. It appeared that his engine had stopped when he grazed the tail of the 109. Even though his aircraft wasn't able to continue the fight, I fired anyway. A few minutes later, I was looking for new targets, and I spotted a bomber flying low. I recognized the bomber design to be something American. American bombers are almost always heavily armed, so I had to attack with speed. Immediately after I shot down the bomber, I saw 2 fighters engaged in combat. Using my brain cells, I managed in the end to deduce that at least one of the aircraft had to be on my side. came into the fight at a dodgy angle and had to adjust. I had to be fast or I would soon find myself in a 1 versus 1. As a somewhat experienced pilot, I knew that following a Ki-61 in a turn fight would be suicide. Instead, I decided to get some altitude and distance, but it looked like that he had lost track of me, and so I took the bait. My teammate had gone down to the enemy Ki-61, and he had also managed to shoot my engine and left wing. I would have been dead if not another teammate engaging the Ki-61. The flight performance of my aircraft was severely reduced, so I decided to head to the airfield, abandoning the pilot that saved me from the Ki-61As of the enemy team. Just when I was gonna land, I received a report that the teammate that saved my life got shot down by the enemy ace. Rip in peace, brother. By this time, my aircraft's flight performance was not the best when I came in for landing, and I didn't see the snow-covered hill the airfield was on. I almost crashed in my landing attempt, but luckily my crew told me they were able to repair my aircraft. The battle wasn't over for me yet. I was looking at the scoreboard, and I had managed to get 7 kills without dying. The enemy ace had gotten a staggering 20 kills, although with a few deaths. The game was also almost ending, so I had to go for the last objective to secure the win. My team was almost depleted of pilots, and the enemy team was stacked. The last objective we needed for the win was to shoot down the enemy surveillance aircraft, and I had climbed for the last few minutes towards it. I was able to take down the surveillance aircraft and managed against all odds to snag the victory, but I knew the war was far from over. Alright, thank you for watching. Please tell me what you thought about the video and drop a like so that I know if you want me to make more. Bye.